This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. Important things to talk about today. And if you or somebody you know has ever been involved in some type of car accident involving some type of motor vehicle, and now you're having flashbacks, now you have trouble sleeping, it's challenging you almost on a daily basis. Maybe you haven't even connected some of the challenges you have to that accident that you may have had recently or in your past. We're going to talk with somebody today that can help you. And it's all about psychotherapy. And she is a mental health professional at Pressman and Associates. Miriam Rosario joins us on the program today. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Very well, and gratified that we're talking because I didn't even know this existed. And it's no surprise. I mean, I've done lots of podcasts that focused on the traumas that we've been through. We've all been through trauma, whether you want to accept it, believe it, or not. That could have been trauma in your childhood, could have been something you got bullied on the playground. That's a trauma. And that is challenging you later in life. You might not even, as I say, connect the dots. But when it's a car accident, I can't imagine what somebody might be going through. And I'm curious, let's even just go there now. Have you talked to people that haven't connected or didn't connect the dots between the way they feel, having challenges, sleeping issues, flashbacks, and not connected to that car accident? Has that happened, in your practice?
It has on a personal level when I speak to people that can't connect that, but professionally with the business, since the referrals come in and the patients call directly, they know that they have an issue because of the car accident.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
Now, is this car accidents that could have happened in the past year, or can it even go back a number of years?
Typically, it's within a year, sometimes within 2 years. What happens is that the patient gets treated, and whoever is treating them, whether it's a neurologist or a chiropractor or their lawyer, actually, if they're having a case against the other auto accident or the auto car, then they will reach out and make the connection and start therapy because they then didn't really have an idea that it was a connection.
Wow. Now, what's different between therapy, traditional therapy, we'll call it that for the moment, and what you offer that is focused on the accident trauma?
The difference is the focus. So regular psychotherapy, because I also do long-term therapy, that's talk therapy, and it's working on what your past has brought up in the present. And for the auto accident, it's much more focused because the sessions are more concise. So whereas I do long-term therapy in my private practice with the PIP patients, it starts with 6 sessions. And then, the billing company will, if they're not ready in 6 sessions, ask for an additional 6 sessions from the insurance companies.
Wow. You said PIP. What's that?
Personal injury protection. So typically for the PIP patient, the auto insurance is what covers and pays for the services.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Did not know that. And it actually sounds like a positive. We highlighted a positive and used insurance in the same sentence. It's amazing.
Yes.
You're talking to somebody as he was driving in today, was on the phone with the insurance company to see if I could lower my rates. Not even kidding. And
Wow.
and by the way, there are so many, and I'm just going to share this because I think it's important for all. There are so many things that are or can be included in your insurance premium that you're unaware of or they don't tell you about. Example, I have a second vehicle. I had a little mechanical issue with it. It was drivable, but a little, I didn't want to break down. And I was like, well, I could just drive it in and then I'll take a Uber home. So I opted to have it towed because it's included in the insurance. The towing took like 8 hours. Side issue. But I'm on the phone with the insurance company and they said, well, yeah, if you wanted to just drive it in, like you said, we provide um, Uber or Lyft. We would have paid for that. I'm like, I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
within this, the PIP, is that included in all policies or most or what?
It is. It is included in all policies. Um, and unfortunately, there aren't a lot of agents out there anymore that are speaking to the prospective person that is getting the car insurance.
Hmm.
And so a lot of the times they don't get the right information. And I think the PIP coverage starts at 15,000, but that doesn't really provide a lot of coverage. So you can up the coverage to like 250,000 and it wouldn't cost much more than the premium that you're getting.
Sure.
But a lot of people don't understand what that coverage is. And so there have been a lot of patients in auto accidents that only have $15,000 that covers the PIP. And a lot of the times that's used up in the emergency room and in x-rays and any kind of exams that they have.
Wow. Okay. So this is related to all of that. Interesting. Thank you so much, Miriam, for providing this. This is like eye-opening. And yes, to your point, when you get towing through your insurance company, that just having that feature, it's literally, I believe, and it varies within different companies. We're talking like $10 or $12 a year. Now imagine if you had to pick up the phone and call to have your vehicle towed.
Right.
Hundreds of dollars, but that's included. So to your point, if somebody wanted to up the PIP coverage, probably for minimal cup of coffee price or whatever,
Right.
you would get so much more, in the
Yeah.
event of an accident. Wow. Uh, I have to imagine a lot of what we're talking about when somebody's recovering emotionally, mentally, the physical, we'll put that over to the side because that's taken care of in different ways, physical therapy and things like that. Um,
Right.
PTSD, big, right?
Yes. Very big.
Hmm.
It's very big. And, I've had some patients in really bad car accidents and some patients that haven't been. The car accidents were, I mean, it's always bad to be in a car accident, but the patients haven't been as injured or very lucky to not be injured in the car accident, but it still makes an effect. It still has an effect mentally.
Can you walk us through the journey, all confidential, just somebody, what the situation was, how you supported and helped them, and then what the result was?
Sure. So I had this one client who started therapy and she was having a difficult time. And I believe it took her a while before somebody even mentioned that she had this mental health coverage in her insurance. So when she scheduled for the appointment, I think it was like a year later. And so then you begin to have some problems because it's a year later that you're starting treatment. But her car accident was she ended up upside down and on the other side of the road. And so she had a lot of injuries to her back. She had a lot of injuries to her upper, lower, and middle back, and has been like in constant pain. Has had a lot of disc that were either condensed or crushed, or so she was in a lot of pain. And when she started therapy with me, she started talking about how it's been very difficult for her because number one, you have the experience of the accident, and our mind remembers everything.
Mm.
So that has an effect. Our body has a memory as well. So that has an effect. And then to top it off, she had the pain to deal with. And so she couldn't sleep. She couldn't get comfortable. She had flashbacks. She was terrified to drive, but she had to if she wanted to. But most of the time, she had her husband drive her to places. And then it also affects them as a passenger. So
Mm.
she began treatment with me and had gotten a lot better and was able to get to the point where she was driving again.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Mm.
I mean, her injuries were permanent. So what we worked on in session was different types of coping skills that she can use. And what I do is I do some psychotherapy, some biofeedback, and hypnotherapy.
Ah, didn't know you did hypnotherapy.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. Wow. You're like the 360 approach to getting this all done. Fantastic. Because hypnotherapy, game changer for me. Um, Along with everything else, that there's all of these modalities can help move you forward. And in her case, and I have to believe in many situations like that, you've got the physical aspect. Sadly, you may never be the same in terms of, so my back always going to be hurting me. Maybe it will. Maybe, you might have aches and pains from that car accident for the rest of your life. There's also that mental aspect of dealing with, I'm different now. I'm different now because of the car accident, right?
Yeah,
Mm,
absolutely. And there's a lot of anger because most of the clients that I have, believe it or not, are not the ones that were at fault.
yeah.
They're typically the ones that have gotten hit and the other person seems to be all right. But, then what ends up happening is once you have the accident, it starts an array of doctor appointments. So it's almost impossible not to think about the accident because there are
Mm,
constant doctor appointments that you need to go to make sure everything is okay. And it just
wow.
becomes really, really difficult, especially for a person who's very active and
Yeah.
used to working out, and all of a sudden they can't.
A
So,
lot of points come up here that the rest of us have never even considered, in that, yeah, I just want to forget it. It was a horrible time in my life. The ambulance, the police, the freaking out for the moment, hanging upside down, whatever it might be. And now you have the constant reminder because you're going on doctor appointments, you're in
mhm,
physical therapy, you're reliving it. Like you
mhm.
said, the mind, the body doesn't forget. Side note, and I'd love your perspective on this. In the last year, I'm hearing more and more that things we go through get into the cellular level of our bodies. It's not just, I had an accident, my back hurts. No, it's your whole body that remembers it, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Wow. Mm. For you, how did this happen for you? First of all, your journey, psychotherapy, and then the car connection. Tell us.
Okay, so my journey, I guess ever since I was a child, I've always, when I was a young teenager, I should say, I was always interested in helping others, and I was involved in different organizations for the youth, and I became very active in that. But then I always thought then that if I became like a psychologist, that I would go crazy myself. So
Wow, I've never heard that before, but I could honestly see that. If
yeah.
you don't know until you know. So now, I'd like to help people. I'm fascinated with the mind, but what if that, affects my mind? Never thought of
Right,
that. Wow.
right. So then I guess I focused on just helping others, and then I graduated from high school and I started working at Cigna, actually Cigna Insurance, and I still kind of work for them because I'm a provider for them.
Wow.
But I started working for Cigna, and found that they have a program where they reimburse tuition for college. So while working full time, I then decided to go back to school. And this was after going to like a leadership program and organizing and creating a mission statement for myself and deciding that I was going to go back and I was going to finish. And actually, my undergrad was in marketing. And I have to say that Cigna paid for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How interesting. Um, I find it even fascinating that we're talking about insurance companies and you were working for one, and of course now you're connected to one. It's
Yes.
amazing
And
how
I
the
know
life path goes.
it is. And on one hand, I appreciate them because they provided a job for me and they paid for my education. And
Hmm.
I actually worked for them for about 15 years.
Wow.
So then once I finished my undergrad, I became reconnected to helping others. and decided then to go for my master's in pastoral care and counseling. And then I started the program at Newman University, and I became a counselor because then I understood that what happens with therapists, psychologists, is that it's important to take care of yourself so that you don't go crazy and that you're not helping yourself while you're in session with somebody else.
Mm, that's seems challenging.
It is. It is. So the things that I always recommend, I do myself. Because if I'm not doing it, then, why would I say anything about it?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm working with patients and I guide them through a hypnotic induction, which is pretty much the same as a meditation,
Mm-hmm.
these are the things that I implement for my own self-care as well.
I was just going to say, oh, you mean the things that we all should be doing on a daily basis? That stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right down to taking care of yourself, right down to supporting yourself, right down to the thing called self-care. I never did it up until, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Um,
Mhm.
Game changer. Game
It
changer.
is. It is. A lot of people don't really realize how important it is to
Mm.
take care of yourself, because if you don't, then you're not going to have any kind of emotional energy to take care of anybody else or to share yourself, really.
Yeah, and many of us, and I'm sure you can address this very easily, we have guilt. When you start taking care of yourself, oh, I should be devoting more time to work because I got to support my family. That was me. I would go to the gym. I'm not even kidding. It was 6 years ago. I would go to the gym, which is 800 feet away from where I am right now in this building. When they first opened, I would get on the treadmill for 12 minutes, and then I would feel guilty and get off of it and go to work, thinking, I got to keep pushing. I got to keep, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. Flip that whole mentality around, but it changes your life, changes your fitness, change everything
Mhm.
when you take care of yourself. But we don't,
Yes.
for many different reasons, guilt being one of them. Um,
Mhm.
have you ever personally been in a car accident?
Yes, actually, and recently.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. And I was very fortunate that I didn't get hurt. But throughout the process when it happened, and I hear this all the time with my patients, they talk about how fast everything happened. So at the moment that it happened, it felt like it was in slow motion, and at the same time it was happening really fast, because before you know it, it was done and we were over on the side of the road.
And
Yeah.
I would imagine right now you could recall those scenes in your mind, like we talk about, the
Hmm.
first person on the scene. Maybe it's another driver. Are you okay? Then comes the police, then comes the ambulance, then on and
Hmm.
on and on and on. I don't think anybody would ever let that go just because it's
Hmm.
it's it's with you now, you know?
Hmm.
It's a trauma.
It is.
Mm.
It is.
I didn't know this existed, to be honest with you. Yeah, okay, therapy, but not what's specific and specialized for car accidents.
Hmm.
After we're done talking today, I am reaching out to my friend who had an accident with his wife and his son. Somebody rear-ended them on a major road. Uh, he was basically stopped. It was a girl that was texting. She was barely
Hmm.
just got her license, plowed into the back of them. They have neurological issues,
Yeah.
the stuff you would imagine, whiplash and neck issues and everything. But wait, he's grateful that they had that accident because if they didn't have that accident, they wouldn't have done evaluations on all of them, including his wife. And it was revealed because of, checking the neck and everything, she had thyroid cancer.
Oh, wow.
And she just had surgery successfully last week. So
Wow.
I can't even imagine that the car accident in itself, they're still dealing with the physical therapy of that, of, maybe 8 weeks ago. And now a week ago, that surgery,
Mm.
thyroid cancer. Um, Talk about trauma. That's going to be around for a
Yeah.
while for all of them. Um, Amazing that this is offered. And I mean this with respect. Amazing that insurance companies pay for it. Wow, fantastic. What's your suggestion if somebody's been in an accident and they're having flashbacks, challenges, or should everybody have therapy? There's always going to be something hanging out there from the trauma, and what they should do to reach out to you.
Well, what they can do is they can go to the website actually, and it's the website is www.pippna.com, which is very difficult to spell. Um, but hopefully that pronunciation is clear. So I don't need to spell it. And then also there's a phone number, which is 856
And can you help anybody anywhere virtually?
Virtually is an option. It's better to be in person. And for right now, we're working in the state of New Jersey.
Okay.
So within the state of New Jersey, if it's impossible for them to come in person, then we do virtual. But because it's trauma based, it's a lot better to be in person to be able to visualize and be there for the client in case anything goes awry that we could, help to regulate them at that time.
Gotcha. So two tiers here. Mental health services, the practice handles that, but it also handles people specifically that have been in car accidents. Do I have that right?
Yeah, well, I have my private practice. And so my private practice, which is different than the PIP practice, is psychotherapy and handle anything that has to be handled, whatever you'd like, mood disorders, anxiety. And then there's the PIP business, Pressman and Associates, where we primarily handle the PIP patients that have been in accidents, and we go through the car insurance.
Gotcha.
And typically we get referrals from chiropractors or lawyers, and the patients are involved in a lawsuit. And so one of the things that we also do is we provide the notes for the case to help build it.
Nice. Wow. You do it all. It's fantastic. So it's PIPNA.com, right?
Well, it's PIP and then PNA.com.
You're right. I'm seeing that now on my screen.
You see how difficult it is to spell?
PIPPNA.com. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for all the insight. This is an eye opener for all of us that this exists, and even the degree of challenge that people have after a car accident. Yes, we know it's impactful, but never to this degree, PTSD and all of that. So Miriam, I appreciate you bringing that to the forefront, and looking forward next time we get together.
I appreciate being on. Thanks,
Thank you.
Steve.
We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned. This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.